And now you guys see why we had to adjust stuff, huh? Holy hell, it sounds windy out there.
Yeah, you want to come out and check?
What?
They said you want to come out and check it.
Yep. It's about like it trying to communicate in the tent right now, which is why we had to go all Zoom.
All right, go ahead.
Sean, before practice, are you able to give us sort of an update on the status of who maybe we won't see out there, who we will see out there?
Yeah, so won't see John. John is going to be out for the game, so he'll be out. We're still planning on traveling him, and then Cooper and David Edwards, we will monitor. We'll be smart and not they won't practice. We're going to get them as much treatment as possible and see what their game status looks like after we kind of get through the day.
How's Jared doing? Where would you gauge his recovery?
He's good. I mean, he's done a nice job throughout the course of the week. I think he's been able to get a lot of good individual work with Kevin, and then we had a little bit of physical work yesterday. And so he's making good progress. I think, just the further you get away from that, I think the more normal. I know he's been pain-free, but I think the more, functionality like we've talked about, you'll get from that thumb surgery and feeling like yourself as far as getting the grip, throwing the football, and all the different things that position entails from a ball handling perspective.
Sean, so is it fair for us to say that Jared will start, he'll be backed up by Blake Bortles, and John is still going to travel, though he won't be active for Saturday?
Yep, that's fair. And then we'll see about possibly Bryce Perkins as well. Might have him up as our third quarterback.
So, Sean, are you having to alter the practice plan today because of the wind out here?
Yeah, that was yes. The answer is yes, because obviously with the amount of work that we get done today, didn't feel like it would make sense to travel all the way down to SoFi. Being this late in the year, our guys do such a great job of being able to handle these jog throughs while still getting a little bit of individual work. And that was kind of what went into the decision-making process. But in a lot of instances, it was kind of decided for you because of what that restricts you in terms of being able to throw and catch and get some of the things that involve the timing and rhythm, and it mostly affects the offense, but still with the defense trying to get a look in the pass game, some of those looks are minimized as well. So, but hey, this has been this year, whether it's the wind, COVID, whatever it is, it wouldn't feel right if we didn't have something to deal with.
Hey, Sean, given what happened last week, and I know Jared had the thumb, but you and Kevin often talk about how playing quarterback is the most difficult position, in sports, and confidence is a lot of that. So are you concerned at all, and or how do you manage kind of a guy like Jared who said he was ready to play, came in and showed he could play, but yet didn't start? So in terms of the after effects, what, if any, challenges that for you to kind of deal with?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's you go about your business the right way as far as, Jared and I had great conversations last week, and there's a lot of different things that go on in our building, day in and day out that you navigate and you negotiate through it. But that's part of being able to work together, figure out how we move forward from whether good things or if there's somewhat of a setback. And I thought he handled last week really well. I mean, you think about the circumstances that he dealt with, coming off the thumb surgery, going against a defense of that caliber, not getting really any reps during the course of the week, and then you're thrust into the game in the first quarter and do a great job of having a clean slate with the turnovers. And then, he prepared himself this week as if he was ready to go. And so I think there was a little bit different mindset and mentality. But what I learned as much as anything was his ability to be able to handle a difficult thing where, hey, I'm going to do everything in my power to get ready for my teammates if they need me. Well, it just so happened that we did. I think it's a credit to who he is as a man that he can be able to step in, do what he did, and now this week has represented an opportunity for him to build on last week, get another week removed from that thumb injury. And like I'm sure he'll tell you guys later on, he's played in a lot of big games, and this is a great opportunity for us. And with him leading our offense, feel great about the chance.
Are Andrew and Aaron still tracking to play Saturday?
They are, yes.
Hey, Sean, when just as a fan of football yourself, although that may be understating it, when you see an opportunity for a guy like Jalen Ramsey and all of what he brings to go against a guy of Devontae Adams' caliber, what sort of thoughts or feelings does that sort of bring into your mind if you're not necessarily looking at it as a coach, but as someone who appreciates the sport?
Yeah, I think there's certain situations in the game where you get opportunities to truly evaluate them, where maybe you're in a man coverage and you do get an ISO between them. But I think what everybody knows, and I know you know this too, Jordan, because you have great questions, great insight on stuff, is it is still 11 on 11, and there's a lot of different moving parts. Both of those two guys are at the upper echelon, if not the best at their position in the league. And when they get a chance to match up against one another, that's a great deal. But just because Jalen is lined up across from Devontae doesn't mean that it's all right. Those two are in a one-on-one matchup. There's a lot of different things. That's what makes this game so fun, is with the 22 moving parts on every single snap. Are you in a zone? Are you in a man? What are the types of principles that the offenses activate that elicit a certain response from the defense? And so I think what I appreciate is greatness. These are two great players. As I've kind of always kept up with the Packers offense just because, they're doing such good stuff. And then you always know that you might have a chance to pick some good stuff that Matt and Nate Hackett come up with. But, you watch the rapport that Aaron and Devontae have, especially, as you kind of wrap up the week, and usually the red zone is where you kind of wrap that up from a game plan perspective. And you see the different things that these guys have done. You see why they're one of the best, if not the best, red zone offense in the history of the league with the efficiency at which they're operating with right now. And it's a dang joke watching how good these guys are, how comfortable they are with one another. And it is fun to watch. I have a lot more fun watching when it's not going up against them. So hopefully, they'll continue on that theme next season and it doesn't keep going this week. But two great players in Jalen and Devontae. To go back to your original question, there'll be some ops that it'll be really fun to see them go against one another potentially. And then you got two great players that are playing on great units, and they're huge pieces to those puzzles on those units.
Thanks, Sean.
Jared's post-game comments had a little more edge to them than at least I've been used to hearing. I mean, he was talking with some satisfaction, obviously, about his performance, but also about the Seahawks and having seen them celebrate and the satisfaction of beating them. Do you see that side of him or hear that side of him more than we do, or was that something different?
I think it's good. As a competitor, I think, there was reason to have edge. And I think, there's always merit if you try to look at it, through an empathetic lens of, all right, how would you feel if the roles were reversed? And whether it's from a competitor getting a chance to go back 2 weeks later, or as a competitor wanting to have, an opportunity to play from the very beginning of that game. I think that was a good edge. I think it shows his competitive side, and I like seeing that.
Sean, do you and Matt LaFleur have any communication, either by text or joking, whatever, this week? Have you had any?
Yeah, I've talked to Matt this week.
Without going into too much.
We actually told each other the whole game plans. So, I gave him our openers. I gave him what our defensive plan is, and he gave me the same thing on special teams. No, we just, we talked. We keep in touch regularly, but it was more just kind of catching up. We didn't talk about the game. I mean, that's kind of understood. We'll get back to talking ball with one another after we play one another, but we did connect. But it was nothing with regards to anything football related. Just kind of checking in, and it's kind of saying, hey, it's pretty cool and crazy that we're getting a chance to do this, and we'll let it all hang out on both sides.
Hey, we'll let Nick, Omar, and Stacy get in here. Go ahead, guys.
Hey, Coach. How do you go about winning at the line of scrimmage and being able to stop the run in order to put pressure on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers and try to get a W on Saturday?
Yeah, it's a great challenge, Nick, because they are so balanced. They do so many different things that can really stress you. But I think it is about, defeating blocks one-on-one at the point of attack, playing with the right technique. And these games come down to execution. These are great players on both sides of the football. It will come down to execution and really the ability to focus and concentrate snap to snap, because the margin for error against an outfit like this is so minimal. But I think it's really whether you're trying to stop the run and get them in some of the known passing situations. But more importantly, it's really just stringing together good snaps and trying to get off the grass and get the ball back for the offense. It's a great challenge, but it is about the focus, the concentration, the execution, and just the overall technique and toughness, snap in and snap out, that, you're going to get stressed more than ever, and it's going to be our greatest challenge. And, I know the guys are excited about it.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
You're welcome. Thanks, Nick.
Hey, Sean, you mentioned that learning about Jared and that physical toughness and how he handled adversity and all of that. How much are you learning about him still, maybe on a week-to-week basis, about his game here now in year 4 that helps you coach him better?
Yeah, I think different situations offer the opportunity to learn things if you haven't necessarily been through it before, Omar. And certainly this was the first time, kind of Lindsay asked it earlier this week, where Jared has been healthy. He started every game unless there was a decision that, we were resting guys, like the last week of the season in 17. And so this was a new situation. It was the first game that he's ever missed in his football career as a result of injury, or was planning on potentially missing, if John doesn't get hurt. And so watching those things, seeing how guys handle different, forms of adversity, you can look at it from a bunch of different directions, but I think it's just going through those experiences and, being able to just work through things, be able to have that open communication. And those things sometimes provide great opportunities to be able to strengthen the bond and the relationship.
Cool. Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
Hey, Sean, I know you mentioned this week that, Jared was affected in the game, obviously, with the thumb. Does it have any bearing on your limit or limitations on the play calling as far as you guys on Saturday against this Packers defense? Do you think it'll have an effect again?
I think he's throwing the ball really well this week, Stacy. I think we will see how the weather is really affecting the conditions overall, but I don't expect it to be a factor. And really, I think probably a more appropriate way of articulating it was, I thought there were some throws that he's typically fairly automatic on that maybe he missed. Now, whether that was a result of the thumb injury or not, he's the one that would probably be able to better answer that. But I do know this. When you watch them throw last week to this week, it is definitely trending in the right direction. That's more in alignment. And really, it looks like the Jared that we're accustomed to, who has always been a natural thrower of the football. He's been blessed with that ability since he was young, and you can see he's able to drive intermediate, deeper breaks, and he can definitely throw the football down the field. So I don't think you're limited in any type of throw based on what we've evaluated this week, which is a real positive, Stacy.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well,
Hey, Jim, do you need to jump in here?
Yes, I need to jump in. Coach, how are you today?
I'm good. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing really good, Coach. Coach, what will you tell your team, or have you talked to them about the weather conditions in Green Bay, because it could be really, really good, or it could be really, really bad?
Yeah, I think in a lot of instances, Jim, we've got to be able to handle it seamlessly. The important thing that we've really emphasized is understanding the importance of the cleats, because especially if it does snow there, you put a tarp over it, increases the moisture, it makes it a slippery surface. Excuse me, that's a tongue twister there, Jim. But those are the things that are really important, making sure that we've got the right equipment in terms of our footing so that that's not a factor. You see, I know they heat the field and, how that can affect the surface as well. So that's been the important thing. And then I do think it's on us as coaches, specific to the ball handling and things of that nature. If the weather is affected based on how you can throw the football and some of the different things with the ball handling, things of that nature. But the footing is the big thing that we've talked about, Jim.
And have you seen how excited and anxious your team is, and how do you keep them calm?
Yeah, I think they're excited. I think we've got a mature team. We've got a lot of young guys, but we've got great leaders that set the tone and the tempo for every day, Jim. Guys that have been in these types of games, and I think they understand you don't want to peak too early. You want to maximize every opportunity that you have with the preparation leading up to it, so that you can go compete with a quieted mind. And if you can do that, go compete to the best of your ability, you can have no regrets. You see guys like Aaron, the Robert Woods, Andrew Whitworth, the Rockers that have been in these games before. Look to them, and that's what a lot of our young players have done, and I think that's given them a good peak, and we want to peak at the right time.
Thanks, Coach, and good luck.
From a strategic and kind of gamesmanship point of view, were you hoping that John Wolford would get to a place this week where you could make the question, keep it question who was going to start at quarterback to Saturday?
I don't know about that. I think you're hoping just for him that the neck injury didn't restrict his availability to potentially compete for us, and that's what you feel bad about. I just hate for any player, whether it was Jared having the thumb surgery, whether it's John with the neck, Andrew with his knee earlier this year, Brockers and Cooper missing games because of COVID when they never ended up having any symptoms. You feel so bad because of how much goes into it for these players, that if they are restricted with their availability because of some things that are out of their control, that's what I'm most concerned about. That would be, how I would answer that, Lindsay.
Ron, what's the significance of losing Brad Holmes and the draft picks you get in compensation?
I think the first thing is really happy for Brad. I probably should have started out. Artis and I were actually talking about that earlier. Brad is a guy that does a great job. I think his ability to connect, the command he has over the draft and the ownership of the different players and how hard he works to be able to study and do all his due diligence. One of the things I've always really liked about Brad that I think is a great skill set for any leader to possess, he's got great emotional intelligence. And what I mean by that is he's got such a great way about, even if he might not agree with you, it never feels confrontational. And I think that's why he'll do a great job in Detroit, building safety amongst the people that he works with, where you've got to be able to have the comfort, you got to have the comfort to be able to disagree, but work towards solutions. And I think his even keeled demeanor, disposition, how just steady he is will be a real winning edge. He's a great worker. I think he sees the game outstanding. And then he's got the humility where he's always trying to, learn more about the game. And he and I developed a really good relationship since I first got here. And I was just always impressed with, he knew he's got such a great feel for the players and the work that he does specific to, the college scouting. But then he was still always asking so many good questions to just get better at his craft, specific to seeing it through a coach's lens. And he'll do a great job. I got a chance to talk to Chris Spielman about him last week, and really happy for Brad. It's a loss for the Rams, but similar to when we've seen coaches go on and get better opportunities, that's what you do it for. That's what it's about. And I think that's a great reflection of some good things going on in the Rams organization when you lose great people to jobs that, is kind of at the pinnacle of what you're trying to achieve in your career.
All right. Hey,